All right, guys, welcome to Dropping Dimes. I'm your host, Flower Oriana, brought to you by Four Corner Sports. All right, guys, so you guys know what it is. Time to talk about some basketball. And, I know I talked about this team a little bit too much on this channel, but they really are the talk of the NBA. All right? They might not be the talk of New York, but they're at least the talk of the NBA, which is a lot bigger. And the Brooklyn Nets once again made news. All right, they made news, and they added another piece to a possible championship roster. So who did they ended up adding? All right, so they went into the buyout market. They didn't go to no trade or anything like that. They went into the buyout market and they ended up acquiring Blake Griffin. Oh my! So name value is extremely huge. All right. Now, what is he at this point of his career? Well, obviously, when you think of Blake Griffin, you're always thinking about him jumping over that car in that slam dunk contest. You always think about the way that he ended up dunking on Timothy Mozgov. You think about the way that he ended up being part of lobstering and with the Clippers, right? But then, what was he what was he in Detroit? Went a little bit more finesse, trying to shoot threes and stuff like that, and looked like he didn't want to be there, and I didn't blame him at all. All right, his time in Detroit is kind of forgettable. Detroit hasn't been a team that's like sexy that that you try to tune in and like, oh, I gotta catch this game, I gotta catch the Pistons play. They've been regressing. All right, their glory days were back in the mid 2000s, and then their glory days were at the ending of the 80s, beginning of the 90s. All right, with that bad boy Piston era. All right. They weren't going to go anywhere. I mean, they traded Andre Drummond a couple years ago. They had Blake Griffin. They thought that him, Reggie Jackson, Andre Drummond will be able to do something. I think they made the playoffs once in his tenure over there, but he was badly hurt that there was no way that he was going to be able to be used, all right? And nonetheless, like, he hasn't dunked. I know it's crazy when you think about Blake Griffin, but he hasn't dunked in 2 years. A Skywalker like him, a guy that goes at it towards the rim, will slam it at you, will yam it at you, and he hasn't dunked in 2 years. So why would the Brooklyn Nets try to get him? Well, I'll tell you why. Because of the fact that Blake Griffin, when he went to Detroit, he was viewed as a number one option, a number two option, right? Him going to Brooklyn, yeah, he could drop you 20 points. He could shoot like 5 or 6 threes a game, land about two or three of them, all right? But does he need to do all that? No, he doesn't, all right? The reason why he's placed in Brooklyn right now, he was interested in going there, is because of the fact that Brooklyn can play small ball, all right? They could play small ball. They don't need to have him, but he's just an added luxury towards their roster, all right? When you have Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden, all right, that three-headed monsters, all right, he doesn't even need to be a fourth option, all right? That's Joe Harris for you right there, all right? He doesn't need to be your fourth option. He doesn't even need to be your fifth option, all right, with Landry Shamet, Jeff Green, all right? If he could just give you 15 minutes, can drop you about like anywhere between like 7 to 10 points. That's good enough, all right? They can run like a def lineup like how Golden State did a couple years ago. Have Blake Griffin at the 5, KD at the 4, Joe Harris at the 3, all right? Harden running point with Shamet there too, or whatever you want to put Kyrie there. Oof, all right? And you have DeAndre Jordan sitting on the bench. That seems pretty lethal, all right? That seems like a lot of offense right there, and it seems like way too much firepower for one team, all right? For another team to at least try to defend it. How do you defend Blake Griffin at the 5 with KD at the 4, Joe Harris at the 3, all right? And then that all those guys that I just mentioned can knock down three-point shots. Are you aware of that? Are you aware that they could all knock down three-point shots and it opens up the field, all right? They're going to be cutting through the lanes, all right? Cutting through like as if they're like NASCAR drivers, zooming in, slashing, cutting. Ooh, I don't know. I mean, looks pretty scary. I mean, Brooklyn Nets look like they know exactly what they're doing. They're going all in. They really want to capture this title, and I don't blame them. All right, you have These three had this three-headed monster in Kyrie, James Harden, Durant, all right, all in their prime, all right, with a golden opportunity to win a title in New York, in Brooklyn, where they haven't won a title in the last, like 70 something years. Last time they ended up winning in Brooklyn, a title that was won in Brooklyn was with the Brooklyn Dodgers. All right. Now you add Blake Griffin to the Brooklyn Nets. Come on, man. Like, it's championship or bust. I don't blame Blake Griffin for signing with the Brooklyn Nets. Bravo to you. Now let's see where you can actually put, pen to paper with the Brooklyn Nets. You don't even need to be the third or fourth option. You could be the fifth option, all right, and just produce. You produce with the Brooklyn Nets. You help contribute a title, all right. That's good enough. That could cement your legacy, all right. But only thing I'm asking for you, Blake, all right, please, pretty please, with sugar on top, just dunk, man. I haven't seen you dunk in 2 years, all right. I didn't even know about this until Jalen Rose spoke about this on ESPN. Just dunk, all right. I know you may have had injuries, all right, and they have limited you. You're gonna be so healthy, all right. You're not gonna be used as much. Your body's not gonna be worn down in Brooklyn. Man, I just want to see you yam it on somebody, all right? Seeing that old Blake Griffin of, from the past, yam it on somebody in the playoffs, that's one thing I'm very looking forward to, all right? But outside of that, I mean, Brooklyn looks like too superior on, their roster, all right? I don't really care what happens in the regular season. I just want to see what happens in the postseason, all right? I want to see how they look against Philly, Boston, Indiana, Miami, Milwaukee, you name it. I want to see how they look like, with these people, with this loaded of a roster, all right? But until then, guys, I mean, we'll have to see. We'll have to see how Blake Griffin produces. But I'm your host, Flavio Oriana. I had to break this type of news, all right? Blake Griffin's officially a Brooklyn Net. Welcome to Brooklyn. And I will see you guys at a later date. And I will see you guys, as in Brooklyn Nets, guys. I will see you guys at the Barclays Center rather sooner than later. See ya. Peace, guys. Have a good one.